Hello. Sorry, had a few technical difficulties there. Sorry about that. I was back here. I just couldn't figure out how to get up here with you. At any rate, welcome to Thought for Thursday, where we come to you on Thursday evenings. It's the show where we get honest about what's sometimes kind of messy, but it's beautiful work of becoming who we're meant to be. I am Dr. Alethia Tucker, and I'm a reinvention strategist, and I help in the areas of confidence, and I work with women that I like to say are in those middle years. I want to talk to you tonight because it's those women that I've learned have come to a point where they are starting to think they need permission. So let me ask you something. Is there a version of your life that you've kind of been picturing for a while now? A business, a career, a change, a move, a relationship that you need to leave, a book that you need to write. And every time it comes up, when you think about it, you find a reason why it's not quite time yet. You'll say when the kids are more settled, or when I have more saved, or when my husband is more on board, when I feel ready, when someone tells me I'm actually good enough to try this. Yeah, am I stepping on your toes? I want you to notice something. Every one of those sentences is really saying the same thing, right? I'm waiting for someone, I'm waiting for something, I'm waiting for whatever to give me permission. And the hard truth that I've even had to learn myself is that waiting for somebody else to give me that sign, well, is just not going to come. It's always yours to write. It's never going to be that perfect combination, or the savings isn't going to quite be where it should be, because the feeling of readiness really doesn't always arrive at first. Sometimes it arrives for people right on cue, but many times it doesn't. Here's what waiting for permission actually looks like. It's asking six people what they think before you trust your own answer. hmm It's staying in the job that's kind of draining you, because leaving kind of feels reckless, even though staying is really costing you a whole lot more than just money. You're looking at what's practical, and that's not a bad thing. It's rehearsing sometimes the idea in your head for the hundredth time. All right. Instead of writing that first sentence in that book, sending that first email, making that first call. And for the women that I see on a regular, those 40 and up, that's some extra weight. You've spent decades being responsible for everyone else's permission slips. Think about it. You were the one who was responsible for making sure that you approved your child's permission slip, right? You think about that. And what does a permission slip really do? It's basically telling someone else that you are giving them the authority, the permission, the okay to go ahead and be responsible for something that really belongs to you. Think about that for a minute. So, why is it that careers, decisions, our dreams, all of those kinds of things that are really ours, we're waiting for somebody else to give us permission to act on? There's something wrong with that, right? So, what happens in this whole permission slip example that I'm giving you here? It's something that occurs when it's finally your turn to kind of choose something for you. Some part of you keeps kind of looking for that same structure. So I had to give somebody permission to go ahead and be responsible for my child. Why? I kind of think I need to get permission from somebody to be responsible for something that I want to take, when really you're not taking it, it's yours anyway. Yeah, that's where we start to get things all misconstrued. And it's kind of a loophole. And that's the whole point I'm trying to make here with you. You've been the one granting permission to everyone else for so long that doing it for yourself feels almost unfamiliar. It feels selfish. That's what I hear from many people, when really it's not selfish, it's overdue. Again, let me say that. It's not selfish, it's overdue. All right. So you need to reframe, you need to restructure, you need to rethink how it is that you believe your reinvention should take place. For how it is that you believe you should go ahead and step out and make the change that you desire to make. Because the only permission that's needed is for you to step out. We do this because somewhere along the line, we've learned that big decisions kind of require outside validation because that makes it safe for us. That if enough people agree with us, that we're protected from being wrong. Well, guess what? That's just not the truth. So what we do is we kind of collect opinions the way that other people would collect evidence, for example, hoping that we're going to get enough yeses that we're finally going to add up to something that's going to be certainty for us. But reinvention was never going to come with certainty, or else we wouldn't reinvent and then reinvent again and then reinvent again. Many times it is a process. It is going with what you believe is going to work and then adding or changing and making the modifications as they're necessary. But the one thing that it never is something that you need to get permission from somebody else to do for yourself. Waiting for permission, it's not caution. It's really a way that we use to kind of keep the responsibility for our life in someone else's hands. And oh my goodness, what has that cost us? So if it doesn't work out, it's not entirely on us, right? If we kind of put it in somebody else's hands, because for some of us, that's necessary because we don't want to really take responsibility. It kind of feels safer to say, well, they didn't support me and that's why it didn't happen, than to say, I chose this and it didn't work and I'm choosing again. Well, guess what? It's okay if you choose it and it didn't work and you're choosing again. That's okay for you to do, because I guarantee you that each time you go through that process, you should be getting closer. You're learning lessons, you're plugging in so that you can get ever so fine tuned and go in the direction that you need to go. All right. So, this is what we're going to do tonight. We're going to talk about 5 tools for deciding without permission. Yeah, we're going to talk about things that you can do, all right, which is what we've been focused on so far, right? And what are those things? What you desire to do, okay? Things that you can do to, number one, make sure you're not hiding behind that I need permission, all right? And actually stepping out and doing the things that you need to do without waiting for somebody else to authorize it, for not waiting for someone else to authorize what you can do to improve your life. So here are 5 tools to help you to stop waiting and start deciding. So what's the first tool I want to introduce to you? Let's go on over here. It is the quiet decision. The quiet decision practice. Decisions, made for an audience get weaker the moment the audience pushes back, because you start defending this decision instead of living it. And that's what you're doing when you're giving your decision to an audience. So this is how to use this. Before you tell anyone about a change you're considering, kind of sit alone and decide first in writing why this matters to you and what it's going to cost you if you don't. That's what I want you to do when we talk about the quiet decision practice. And if you're saying, I've heard this before, yes, it's a repeat, because somewhere along the line, I feel as though you need to hear it again, because we're still not totally getting that it is our responsibility and we have permission of our own to step out and do what it is that we need to do to be better. What's the second thing? Do that permission audit. All right. You can't stop waiting for permission you haven't even named. All right. Some of us, we're waiting for somebody to give us permission and we don't even know what we need permission for. So the waiting just becomes background noise that you never just examine. So ask yourself plainly, whose approval am I actually waiting for right now? Write that name down. Then ask if that person's approval is truly required or just familiar and comfortable. Okay. Is it really required? Do I really need that? Or am I just hiding behind it because it's really my comfort place? If I get this approval, then, I'll be okay. All right. What's the third thing? Well, it's that 90% rule. What's the 90% rule? That whole perfectionism, oh my gosh, perfectionism disguises itself as responsible planning, for example, but it often just delays the decision indefinitely while dressed up as prudence. Okay, I'm gonna be careful. I'm going to really kind of watch my step. I really got to make sure that this T is crossed and that I is dotted. Now, don't get me wrong. There is something to say for structure. There is something to say for planning. There's something to be said for making sure that you have all of your components, all right, lined up and doing the research and all that. But sometimes we just want to linger behind making things absolutely 100% airtight and perfect. And that causes us time, and that causes us um, the delay that we have been seeing in getting those dreams and those visions to come forth. What else? Let's take a look at the inform, don't ask shift. Now, what's that about? The inform, but don't ask shift. Asking permission really invites other people to vote, right? That's what it's really doing, to vote on your life. And every vote gives your decision one more owner besides you. Each vote, each person that you go to is really voting on your dream, your vision, what it is that you want to do, where it is you want to go, who it is you want to be, how it is you want to transform. Tell the people it affects what you've decided, not what you're considering. Okay? It's okay to seek wise counsel, but go forth saying, this is what I'm doing. Okay? So that the conversation really kind of starts from a place of confidence rather than negotiation. Because sometimes we go to people and we're coming across as though we're negotiating. Okay? Perhaps instead of saying, what do you think I should do? You can start out by saying, I've decided to make this change and I wanted you to hear it from me. And then kind of see where that goes. All right. And then the last thing is the kept promise. The kept promise. A decision only becomes a reinvention if you keep it past that first hard week, when the initial excitement fades and the real work begins. Write your decision down. This is what I want you to do for the kept promise. Write your decision down and put it somewhere that you'll see it every day, and revisit it on the days that doubt tries to creep in, not to not to reconsider, but kind of to remind yourself why you chose it in the first place. Why am I even doing this? Why am I moving out on this? All right. So, 5 things that you can do to squash that whole permission thing. But what I want you to remember as we're coming up on our 15 minutes, you don't need a committee to approve your next chapter. You don't need certainty or applause or someone else's blessing to become who it is that you're meant to be, what it is that you desire to do. Somewhere out there is the life that you are picturing. It is there and it's not waiting on anyone's sign off. No one but you. It's waiting for you. It doesn't require anyone's permission but yours. It requires your decision. Made quietly in many instances, because when you start sharing it a little prematurely, that's opening it up for you to look for precision and permission and approval and all those other things that delay you. So make it today, even if no one knows yet, especially if no one else knows yet. Go ahead, make the decision that you are the one who signs your permission slip. All right. That's it for this week's episode of Thought for Thursday. I want you to know that if you need help with decisions, if you need help with making sure that you've got stuff straight so that you can move to the next step, the intensive is coming up. And the information I'm going to always drop in the chat under the podcast, but it's also sitting up here for you right now. Make the decision to invest in you, invest the time, invest the resources so that you can get the support that's needed to finally get you to stop asking for that permission that many of you have been asking for. All right. Now go out and do all that you can to be the absolute best that you can be. Touch something knowing that you are unique and that uniqueness has a solution tied to it that someone needs. All right. It is your obligation to share it so that, of course, you can be better and that you can help someone else in the process. Make sure that you are being authentically yourself in all that you do because authenticity is what we need from you more than anything else. Make sure you're doing your best in all so that you are making the best decisions for you. And until we see each other again, make sure that you do everything possible to be well.